Hello again, coming back again with more Dwarf Fortress. So, last video I said I'll be doing stockpiles. We obviously learned about workshops and we have a fair grip on everything right now. I did note though that stuff melted last video. I'm gonna go all over that. Basically, obviously, like the real world, the temperature changes during the seasons. We started in spring, it was quite cold, but it's starting to kind of move over a little bit into summer. So now the snow has melted. So here we have a brook. I think I did mention the difference between a brook and a river. But yeah, this is basically the best way to describe a brook compared to a river is the fact, you can't cross a river purely because it doesn't have any roof. This is basically a floor, and then underneath it is water running underneath it. Yeah, moving on that, we're going to go and learn about our lovely stockpiles. So first of all, new button, P for stockpiles. There's lots of different stockpiles that you can designate, but basically stockpiles is an area where your dwarves will bring everything that's relevant to that. You can also make custom stockpiles where, say, if I only wanted egg omelets or whatever in a stockpile, I could do that if I felt the need to. But yeah, the first stockpile that I'm going to put down is a wood stockpile. I'm going to make it right all the way down here. Very important, make it quite big. I'm also going to make a furniture stockpile. This is very important because we'll be making a lot of furniture, so I'm going to go ahead and make that very big. I'm going to go make a big finished goods stockpile. I'm going to make a armor stockpile. I could go over, what an armor stockpile is and stuff, but it's very self-explanatory. One thing that isn't very self-explanatory though is the animal stockpile. The animal stockpile is a stockpile for cages. I don't know why it's called animal, but it is. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up our last few stockpiles, very important. Ammo, cloth, leather. Another very important thing in stockpiles is something called a refuse and corpse stockpile. These are used to contain stuff like dead animals, dead critters, that kind of thing. And I'll explain them a little bit later when we need to use it, because there is something related to it that can make a dwarf happy. So it's important to manage your refuse disposal very well, otherwise you may risk a dwarf becoming unhappy, and that's not good at all. So yeah, at the minute we do have our carpentry not on cycle. I completely forgot about that. So carpentry, I'll describe its main functions. Most things can be replicated in the masonry. You don't really need the carpentry for a whole lot, but for the things that it does do, it's very, very important. Say for example, beds are unique to it. Barrels and bins, they cannot be made in a masonry. Obviously, if you can make something in a masonry, you'd make it in a masonry, because stone is a lot more commonplace than wood. You have to go outside to get wood, you have to chop it down. It's not, I could dig huge amounts of earth forever. I'm never going to run out of stone, but I might run out of wood eventually. And in places with less wood, there's no such thing as a place with less stone though. So like I said, basically the main thing is use stone if you can, but these are essentials that you won't find anywhere else. So we have our bed, our barrel, our bin. I'm going to go over what they are. Bed, obviously, is somewhere where somebody sleeps. If dwarves don't have a bed, they'll be more than happy to sleep on the floor. Well, they won't be more than happy, but they can sleep on the floor. I'm not sure, is any dwarves sleeping right now? Maybe I can catch them. Oh my god, I have no idea where they all are. So I'm going to ignore them. But yeah, beds are very important. You can put them in their bedrooms. Barrels are used to store food and alcohol. Very, very important. Construct wooden bin. Wooden bins are used to store finished goods such as crafts. Crafts are very important export which you make with your crafts dwarf. They could be made out of stone, they could be made out of gems, that kind of stuff. A lot of different things. But the reason that stone crafting is very nice in it, you can have a lot of stone. A huge amount. You best use it, with whatever you can. Getting rid of it is a good idea, and making it with crafts and then exporting it for trade is hugely useful. So there we go. We've covered that. One thing that I need to cover though is alcohol. I mentioned in my last video that I'd mentioned how dwarves have a pretty big dependence for alcohol. Without alcohol, they'll be pretty cranky, pretty unhappy. It's another thing that won't make them happy. They can survive off of water, but one thing to note is the fact that water freezes over, so a lot of fortresses die I know a lot of people who in their first year they've simply died because they didn't have alcohol and their lakes froze over and then everybody died. It's a not nice way to go out, and it turns out in fact that my first forest died of that as well. So don't feel ashamed even after a tutorial if you do die horribly in a stupid way. It's all fun and it's all learning. I've played like hundreds of times, but every time I learn something that I can cut corners on, I can improve on, and make my dwarves better than ever. One thing to be noted about alcohol though and water is the fact that injured dwarves cannot drink alcohol. They need water to survive. So even if you do have a good steady production of alcohol, making a well is still something that's very important and something that should definitely be taken into consideration. But I'll go into that in a short period of time. So there we have them designated. I'm going to go ahead and now build our lovely little sleeping quarters for our dwarves. As well as that, we're going to go ahead and make an area back here in which we are going to strike the earth. As the game told us, striking the earth is very important, so we're going to do it straight away. So I'm going to go ahead. Oh god, I didn't think of that through at all. Okay, I'm going to do it like this. But yeah, I'm going to do this to get stone primarily. I'm nearly there. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and make a downward staircase and a up-down staircase as filler in between, and then I'm just going to leave it like that. I should hit stone by then, I would think. And then with that stone I can start building stuff. But at the minute we all have everything all good. As well as that, I need to start terraforming outside with walls to make it a little bit more safe. At the minute it's kind of dodgy, there's stuff coming from all over. Well, there's not stuff coming from all over, but stuff could come from anywhere, goblins or whatever. This won't happen this early in the game, by the way, so don't feel frightened. In a place like this, goblins won't come kill you. Goblins focus on places with a lot of wealth. They'll come in a few years' time when you've built up a little bit bigger of a forest, and once you've got a military, that kind of thing. But I'll go on to that in time. But yeah, having walls and stuff will definitely help your forest a lot. So I highly recommend it. As you can see outside here though, there is some remains of animals, rat remains. Like I said, these animals will eat your food, which is why they're all around our food, all dead because our cat killed them. Very good cat, well done stray cat. Yeah, you can obviously press enter and find out what it looks like. It's a little skinny thing. Should be fat after eating all those rats though. But yeah, there's lots of remains there, so I'm going to go ahead and make a refuse stockpile outside here. And now any refuse will be brought there. But one thing, it's not important and I don't really want to cover it, but my dwarves will not gather from outside. This is kind of an advanced thing. But if you do want to remove stuff from outside, and you want to make your dwarves automatically remove stuff from outside and put it in a stockpile, press O for set orders. I don't want to go into this menu, by the way, it's not used a whole lot. Again, for advanced users. R for refuse, O and V, that toggles your dwarves to gather refuse from outside and to gather vermin corpses. So they will go ahead and be gathering those corpses and be putting on that lovely little stockpile right there. But yeah, talking about remains, I'm going to go ahead and talk about miasma. Miasma is something that occurs when remains are inside or rotten food, basically anything organic that rots. I've killed a horse, and it's just the carcass is just lying there. It's not being moved, it's not being prepared in any way. It's going to start rotting. Miasma is a very nasty big purple cloud that will appear from the rotten item. As you should know if you've got a fair English vocabulary, obviously miasma is a real world word as well, and yeah, it's basically a deathly stench. So now you've learned some English as well at Dwarf Fortress. You're very well prepared now. Okay, but yeah, miasma, it makes your dwarves have bad thoughts. It's not something good to have. If I ever put a roof over here, I could build some walls and then put a roof over. That would also stop building miasma. Again, something that you don't particularly want to do. But one thing to note is the fact that if you don't have a roof, a flying monster, for example, could fly through my roof. That's something bad. You need to think about all these different situations that lead to vulnerabilities in your fort. It's not something very nice to die to, like a forgotten beast or something, flying through your roof and mangling your dwarves. It's not nice at all. Well, it's kind of nice. But yeah, now I'm done on that, I'm going to go ahead and unpause the game. And oh my god, my throat hurts a lot. I need to get some water before I die. talking too much. But yeah, the stockpiles, as I said, your dwarves will actively go and take everything. As you can see, my dwarves are getting their little legs on. They are running away. They're running to put my cloth here in the cloth stockpile. I think that's a finished good. I think it's a crutch, perhaps. Yes, this is a splint. It doesn't look like a mouse, not a splint, but that's okay. So we've got some ropes as well. All those things can be used for different things. Crutches and splints obviously are used for medical use in hospitals, but that's something you don't need to worry about until later, even after you've got a military. You know, well, I guess before, if you do hit the earth and you come upon a cavern, then that's something that you may need to worry about. The game is just froze value because all of the ice is melting. Magic. Okay, this is a good time to explain why the hell it's a big 7. As you can see now, the water's all moving nicely. So I need to scratch my hand. Okay, there we go. Okay, so going on to why it's all 7. Basically, water and any other liquid. At the minute, there's only water and magma. I think that are liquids. I might be forgetting something. But just a little tidbit to know. Toadie will eventually plan to do things like make anything a liquid, like lion fat or whatever. So that's pretty cool because in time, like I said, I'm pretty sure I've said it before, the game's only in version 31.25, you know. This is a third of the way done. If Toadie could make, you can make lion fat liquids, and then, you know, you could be sailing through a sea of lion fat. You could have a moat of lion fat. How cool would that be, you know? You could have goblins drowning in lion fat. Or you could have lion fat combined with magma and blood. And then, yeah, it'll be a nice death for the goblins. But that's just some of the evil things that you can make. Even without lion fat, I'm sure you can think of lots of fun little traps to use. Oh god, I completely strayed away from why it's 7. So anyways, measured in 1 to 7. 0 is obviously nothing, there's no water there. When the water is on level 1 rather, it will begin to evaporate. So if I broke this, the water wouldn't endlessly just float around my fort. It would eventually evaporate and it would go away. So it's not something you need to worry about. Although if you, like I said, this is finite. If you hit this is infinite. This will kill you horribly. Maybe you could stop it, but you probably couldn't. You might be able to put a wall up before it kills you, but probably not. Your entire fort and downwards would probably be flooded. Alright, there we go. We've got this all mined out nicely now. I'm also going to be striking the earth very soon. Is there anything else I need to cover in this part? I don't really think so. As you can see, my refuse is being brought there. Still gathering wood and loads of stuff from the stockpile. One thing I do need to worry about is, oh my god. Okay, I'm cutting at this point. This is a cavern. So next part, we're going to be covering caverns, and then we're going to be covering farms. I didn't really intend to strike upon a cavern. But yeah, I'll describe them in the next part. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to put it in the comment section below. Feel free to like or dislike the video, hate me or love me, or stay in between, or neither, I don't know. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and please tune in again, and you'll probably learn a lot of stuff, including English words like miasma.